Hey, shalom, shalom. Want to start off by saying call, halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakadash. Double honor to our apostles who are elders, who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. This Rob Lamont for the Nebraska camp. This is Jim SNE pushing the mark. I wanted to go over like a quick hit breakdown type of deal, just for clarification. Going into Ezekiel 16 and 1, it says, again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus saith the Lord power unto Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother was an Hittite. Okay. Now, when reading this, one would assume that we're Hamites, and that's not true. We don't come out of that stock. This is just explaining that this is the land that birthed our nation. Okay, and when you go down into history, you would know that this was the reason why, and there's proof in that. Okay. So we'll go into a couple of precepts and get some clarification going, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So when you go into the ancient history, and you go into Genesis 12, okay, 12 verse, you can start at verse 1. Okay, so I can turn to it right now. It says, now the Lord had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto the land that I will shew thee, and I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee, and I will and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Okay, and Haran, let's see here. Yeah, I don't want to look at it into too much detail and take too much time, but I put it up in post-production so we can see what Haran is. Okay, but we're going to continue reading. All right, in verse 5 it says, And Abram took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance, and they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of what? Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Morah, and the Canaanite was and the Canaanite was then in the land. You see, and the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land, and there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him, and he removed from thence unto the mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethalon the west, and Hian the east, and there builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south, because another thing is Abraham knew the name of the Lord, he called upon the name of the Lord, but as far as our nation, we didn't know as a nation the name of the Lord, so he gave it to Moses to tell everybody, okay, but the name of the Lord was known, it just had other like El Shaddai and things like that. But I'm trying to look for this Man, it's bothering me. I want to look for it. But we're going to continue on, man. We're going to continue on. All right. So going back into that statement, okay, because I know I read the land of Canaan, okay, and it says thy father was an Amorite and thy mother was an Hittite. And if you know about the land of Canaan, you know that those are the like Israel, Jacob, type of deal is synonymous with that. Okay, so when we go into Joshua chapter 15 and 63, I believe, and go into there proving how these are how can you say places that's these names are just relative to the Canaanites in general. Okay, like I said, and actually in my sword it actually gives the breakdown as well. So I might go into that as well. So when you go into verse 63, 12, and is it 12? It's 15 and 63, Salakia. We go into Joshua chapter 15, verse 63. All right, and wow. So in Joshua chapter 15, verse 63, and it says, as for the Jebusites and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites and the children of Judah, with the children of Judah but the Jebusites dwelled with the children of Judah at Jerusalem unto this day, because we couldn't drive out the bulk of the Canaanites. Not the bulk, we couldn't drive out certain amounts of the Canaanites because of the deal we made with them being when they was acting like they were scouts, and they actually, so we made a deal and we pretty much kept them as slaves. You know what I'm saying? But they were there before us as well. So they pretty much dwelt among us, and also they were there before us, nurturing that land. Because when you go to Joshua, the book of Joshua, and when Joshua and Caleb was scouting, not the book of Joshua, when Joshua and Caleb was scouting the land, that's the land that they were scouting, and they came back with good report that there was, good fruit in the land that they nourished the land well. Okay, so the Lord set them up to pretty much get that land squared away so we can come in there and get it, because we often, tell, and voice out the complaints of how Esau, took us down and did it unfairly. The Lord can ordain, us to take other nations down, but the Lord allowed for Esau to take us down, but he didn't, to the extent that Esau did it was just wicked. Okay. All right. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 5. We'll go to 2 Samuel chapter 5 as well to also further prove that, pretty much Canaan was there before we was there, and they helped cultivate the land. We were ordered to get them out of that land, and that'll be the land that we occupied. Okay, but that didn't happen, so they dwelt among us for that said time, and that's really how we learned war, was dealing with Canaan. Okay, that was the ultimate one of the goals that the Lord wanted to establish for us, to learn war. Okay, so is it 2 Samuel? Yes, 2 Samuel. So like it. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 6. So we go to 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 6. All right, and it says, and the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, which spake unto David, saying, Except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come hither. Thinking David cannot come in hither. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David, proving that they was there, but this is the process of them getting taken over. It says, and David said on that day, whosoever getteth up to the gutter and smiteth the Jebusites and the lame and the blind that are hated of David's soul, he shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, the blind and the lame shall not come into the house. So David dwelt in the fort and called it the city of David. You see? So this also proves how, we pretty much was on a mission to clear out that land. Once Moses came up and then Joshua and Caleb came, that's when all that land cleansing came, and that's why, that precept in particular states, makes a statement like that. So like I'm hearing something at the same time. So I want to get a couple more precepts and we're going to close it out. All right. So we're going to go into Genesis chapter 10 and verse 15. Then we'll get another one in Judges, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right. Yeah, because this thing is a historical thing as well as this prophecy, and you got to learn how to differentiate the two. Esau is mainly just history. So they try to attach history to prophecy, but they don't know how to make the difference because they're sensual in spirit. Okay. So like it. In Genesis 10 and 15, it says, and Canaan begat Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites, and the Girgashites, and the Hivites, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zamorite, and the Hamathite. And afterwards were their families of the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of Canaan was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar in Gaza, and thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, and their families, and their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. All right, because Elam or Arawam was the one that really nurtured Abraham. You know what I'm saying? Because the land of Ur and all that, the Canaanites had that land that we were promised, okay? And once Abraham really got around Sodom, that's when, you can say everything started towards him being destined for that land, because we were destined to have that land before Joshua and Caleb. It goes back to Abraham, all right? When the Most High promised him that land to, look that way. Well, it was happening. It was manifesting when he told him and Lot was beefing, and then he said, hey, you go this way and you go that way. Everything was starting to manifest on what land he was going to go to and what land he was going to inhabit. Okay, so we're going to end it off with these two precepts. Let's see here. Salakia. We'll go to the book of Judges, chapter 19, verse 11. So in the book of Judges, we actually going to start at 10, okay? It says, but the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over to Jebus, which is the land of the Jebusites. And this is in the book of Judges, showing that even after we inhabited the land, that, Jebusites had land within our land, okay? And there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jebus, they said the day was far spent, and the servant said unto his master, come, I pray thee, and let us turn into the city into this city of the Jebusites and lodge in it. Okay, so this is way after Moses and everything, proving that they dwelt among us as well. And going to we go back into Second Samuel, because a lot of this is around the same time, so to speak. After all that, after Egypt and getting out of that, the wilderness, and then Joshua and Jericho and all that, and Jake was settling. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind. But it's our people tend to make it more than what it's supposed to be in certain situations when it's not, because they want Esau to be grafted in. So we can go to 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse I believe it's 6. It says, and the king and his men went to Jerusalem and to the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, and spake unto David with saying, except thou take away the blind of Salakia. Yeah, I read that one. I read that one. Yeah, I read that one. Salakia. So, So this, when we go back to Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 3, it says, and they said unto the Lord, thy power, unto Jerusalem, thy birth, thy nativity is the land of Canaan. Okay, that's why I said that, because that's where Israel started. That's where the promise was given unto Abraham. Thy father was an Amorite and thy mother was an Hittite. So, and I was reading the Jebusites and things like that, but the Jebusites, I read the lineage. This is just as this just pointing out that this is the land. This is our homeland. This is our motherland. This is our fatherland, however you want to put it. This is the original land. But there were Canaanites there first. And, the Lord named the Amorites and the Hittites because the Amorites and Hittites are just synonymous with Canaan. Okay, the land of Canaan. Same as the Jebusites, the Hivites, such on. All of them are synonymous with the land of Canaan. Okay. So it says, the Amorites were pre-Israelite Semitic inhabitants of Canaan. Okay, the Hittites were non-Semite residents of Canaan who earlier had flourished in Asia Minor during the 2nd millennium BC. Okay, so when we read that scripture, it's just saying that they were our thy father was an Amorite and thy mother was a Hittite. Just saying, that's the land that they pretty much nourished that land before we got there. And they lived among us after that, some of them, because we didn't drive them all out as the Lord had ordained us to do. Okay, so hopefully this was edifying. With that being said, I want to say call Lord to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Akakadash, double honest, our apostles who are elders, who rule well, and blessed citations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth, sincerity. Shalom.